In this forecast, the potential for 2 snowstorms as well as lake effect snow will lead to almost constant snowfall for the northern half of the U.S. A cold snap will lead to significantly colder temperatures across the eastern and northern half of the U.S. Finally, severe weather is possible for Texas and Florida on some days. Everything you need to know on Project Gladiator. Hello everyone and welcome back to another Project Gladiator Weekly Overlook, and today I'll be covering the weather for the week of March 18th until around March 24th. Sorry that I am recording this a day late. I did want to spend time with friends after I got back from vacation yesterday. However, I will be going over the weather for the rest of the week up until the 24th. So let's start off with our Jetstream pattern at our 500 millibars and how our Jetstream is expected to dictate the weather that we are expected to see across the United States this week. As of right now, we are looking at two main troughs. One trough that is currently situated across the southwestern United States. This isn't really moving, however, it is expected to move later this week. And then we also have this other trough, which is connected to a much larger trough further up north. We do have a fairly powerful short wave that is advecting south, and that is leading to a lot of colder air out of the north here, and we'll get into that cold snap later in our temperature models. However, we are expected to see another shortwave trough, which isn't going to be as well defined, but you can see it by this band of enhanced flow across the northern half of the United States. This is going to be leading to our first wave of snowfall for the northern half of the United States into the Midwest, and should eventually move into the New England corridor around the 20th, and then we should also see another trough that is going to advect out of the Pacific Ocean here, and that is going to lead to another low pressure system, which is going to continue to progress across the northern half of the United States. This is expected to lead to more snowfall with the second snowstorm, and much more widespread snowfall as well. And then for that low pressure system that I mentioned, but I didn't really go over until now, we are expected to see that begin moving around the 20th, and that's going to move into Texas around the 20th to the 21st, and this is going to lead to the potential of severe thunderstorms for Texas, and then that is going to move into Florida eventually. However, as it does move into Texas, we are expected to see a lot of warm air advection and a lot of moisture being pulled out of the Gulf of Mexico, and that's going to support the risk for severe thunderstorms across Texas on the 21st. And then we are expected to see a low pressure system, surface low, that is going to develop in the Gulf of Mexico, and that's going to develop a cold front, and that's going to move across the Florida peninsula around the 21st to the 22nd, leading to the potential for severe thunderstorms for Florida. Taking a look at our composite reflectivity so we can go over the when and where you should be able to see our snowfall and the potential for severe thunderstorms this week. Let's start off with what we are expected to see for today and into tomorrow. We are expected to see continued lake effect snow across a lot of the New England corridor. This is going to be due to those troughs that we currently have across this region, where we have mid-level flow that is advecting out of Canada here, and as that passes over the Great Lakes, that leads to enhanced lapse rates and shear, which does support lake effect snow across the New England corridor, and potentially into Michigan and in the northern Midwest. So we are expected to continue to see a lot of lake effect snow until around the 21st or the 22nd, and then we should see that first snowstorm that I've been talking about, that should begin to develop an impact anywhere from the 21st across the northern central plains and move into the Midwest around the 22nd, and then move into Michigan and the New England corridor on the 23rd. That low pressure system that is expected to lead to the potential of severe thunderstorms, which I will go over in a minute, we are expected to see that low pressure system combine with the other low pressure system that's going to be leading to snowfall across the northern half of the United States. This is potentially going to lead to some snowfall that may extend further down south into portions of Maryland and potentially northern Virginia across the northern half of the eastern seaboard. And then for the second snowstorm, we are expected to see much more widespread snowfall, which is going to begin across the northern central plains around the 24th, and that is going to continue to progress into the Midwest and the Ohio River Valley on the 24th and the 25th, and then that is going to develop into a very large band that is going to extend across the New England corridor, around Pennsylvania, into Michigan, the Midwest, and across the northern central plains, and potentially even back into portions of the high plains, and that is going to progress into next week. And then as far as the risk for severe thunderstorms that we are expected to see with that other low pressure system further down south, we are expected to see the potential for severe thunderstorms across Oklahoma and southern Texas on the 21st. And then we are expected to see the potential for severe thunderstorms for Florida, likely around the 22nd and potentially into the 23rd, but mainly around the 22nd. Taking a look at our widespread temperatures across the entire United States for this week, let's start off with that cold snap I was talking about and the shortwave trough that we were expected to see across the eastern half of the United States. We are expected to see that pull a lot of cold air out of the north here, and that is going to lead to much colder temperatures across the eastern half of the United States, and potentially as far west as portions of Arkansas and southern Missouri. We may be able to see temperatures that may be able to get below freezing as far south as northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, and northern Georgia on the early morning of the 19th. And during the day of the 19th, we should continue to see some fairly cold temperatures that still may be below freezing across the New England corridor, and that's what's going to allow for that lake effect snow continuously. And then from here on out, we are expected to see a gradual decrease in the temperatures across the northern central plains, the New England corridor, and Ohio River Valley, where temperatures are expected to progressively get much more cold over time. And by Sunday at night, we may be able to see temperatures across the northern half of the United States and the New England corridor that may be able to get down into the teens and potentially even into the single digits in some isolated areas. So it's going to be getting very cold for the northern half of the United States there, and that's what's going to be allowing for our snowstorms because of how cold it's going to be. Taking a look at our total snowfall accumulation, we're going to be going in depth on the risk for those two snowstorms I've been talking about and how much snowfall we are actually expected to see from them. Keep in mind we are using the GFS model, so things tend to get quite wacky with them. Especially when it comes down to snowfall totals. They like to really exaggerate some things. However, across the northern central plains, GFS models are indicating the potential for snowfall totals that may be able to range anywhere from 4 inches to 6 inches, potentially getting up to 8 to 7 inches. I doubt we're going to see up to 9 inches, but it may be possible. We are probably not going to see a foot of snow across the northern central plains, but we should definitely see some fairly hefty snowfall across the northern central plains in the Midwest. Again, potentially getting upwards of 6 to 7 to potentially 8 inches. And then across the New England corridor with the potential of continuous lake effect snow. I highly doubt we're going to see more than a foot of snow, and we're definitely not going to get 41 inches of snowfall by the end of the week, so this is completely inaccurate. We are likely not going to see anything above a foot. However, snowfall totals may be able to get up to a foot, or maybe begin approaching a foot, especially with how continuous and how widespread our lake effect snow is expected to be across this region. However, if I had to make an estimate based on what I've been seeing, I think that the snowfall totals across the New England corridor from lake effect snow are probably going to be ranging anywhere from 4 to 6 inches, potentially getting up to 8 to potentially 9 inches in some regions. Taking a look at our WPC outlooks and what the WPC currently has issued as far as our winter weather outlooks and the potential for heavy snowfall, keep in mind that we are currently looking at the probability of snowfall totals that are going to be greater than 4 inches. So if you see any of these areas that pick up, especially when it's in green or red, it's very indicative of the potential of some fairly hefty snowfall. So starting off with today and tomorrow, we are really only seeing the potential for lake effect snow across the New England corridor and potentially the upper peninsula of Michigan for heavy snowfall. And then for day 3 into day 4, we have that narrow band of snowfall that is going to lead to the potential of some fairly heavy snowfall across the northern central plains in the northern Midwest with that first snowstorm. And then on our day 5th, that is going to move out into the New England corridor on the 23rd, leading to the heavy snow on top of that lake effect snow. And then for day 6 into day 7, you can really see how the potential for heavy snowfall really ramps up across the northern plains in the Midwest there, as we do have at least a 50% chance currently issued for the potential of snowfall totals that may be getting greater than 4 inches. So we are definitely expected to see some very hefty snowfall in some of these upcoming dates. Taking a look at our surface-based CAPE, or in other words, our instability, which is basically the fuel for severe thunderstorms, and where we are expected to see our fuel for severe thunderstorms, and how that's going to coincide with that trough for the risk for severe thunderstorms across the U.S. this week. Starting off with the potential for severe thunderstorms across Texas, with that first trough in the southern U.S., we are expected to see quite a lot of instability that is going to we are expected to see quite a lot of instability that's going to build across the southern plains due to warm air advection and the movement of moisture and heat out of the Gulf of Mexico. That's going to support quite a lot of instability across the southern central plains and fuel the potential for severe thunderstorms across Texas. We aren't really expected to see a whole lot of instability, so overall the potential for severe thunderstorms is probably going to be fairly low end, maybe marginal to slight, but we should definitely see the potential for severe thunderstorms across Texas nonetheless. And then as we move into the potential for severe thunderstorms for Florida, we are expected to see not only a lot of moisture and a lot of heat across Florida to begin with, because it is Florida, and we haven't really had anything that's going to cool down Florida or make it drier. So we are expected to see the ingredients in place across Florida before this trough even moves in. However, warm air advection should continue to build those ingredients, and we should see quite a lot of instability across Florida. And that may lead to potentially a greater risk for severe thunderstorms across Florida on the 22nd. Taking a look at our supercell composite, what this does is it combines every parameter in the atmosphere to give us the best idea of a supercell developing. Keep in mind it doesn't give us a percentage, but it does give us a general idea of what the risk for severe thunderstorms, generally how high the risk for severe thunderstorms may be. But again, keep in mind it doesn't give us a percentage, but it is a really handy tool to use when forecasting the potential for severe thunderstorms. And the overlaid contours that you see are our surface instability. It is the stuff that we just looked at, and the shaded stuff in the gray and the green is our supercell composite, so that's what you're mainly looking for. But you can also see how our surface instability interacts with it and how it leads to our supercell composites. And then across Texas, our supercell composites are supporting the risk for severe thunderstorms across Texas, potentially on the 21st to the 22nd. And then the main risk for severe thunderstorms is probably going to be across Florida, with some fairly decent supercell composites indicating the potential for severe thunderstorms across Florida on the 22nd and potentially the 23rd, but probably around the 22nd. And then taking a look at our SPC outlooks, or our Storm Prediction Center outlooks, and to take a look at what they currently have issued for the potential for severe thunderstorms, keep in mind that these likely will change by the time these dates roll around. So what I'm about to show you isn't entirely set in stone, but this is what the SPC currently has picked up on and currently has issued for the potential of severe thunderstorms this week. For today, on the 18th, we don't have anywhere that we are currently watching for the potential of severe thunderstorms. We did have a marginal threat for severe thunderstorms across the Florida Peninsula earlier today. However, that has been removed. For tomorrow, we're still not watching for the potential of severe thunderstorms, but we may be able to see some general thunderstorms for some of the southwest there. And then on our day 3 outlook, which is the 20th, we do have two areas that we are going to be watching for the potential of severe thunderstorms, with a marginal threat for the Texas Panhandle into western Oklahoma and southern or central Texas there. We will watch to see how these areas develop and how the SPC changes them over time to fit the risk for severe thunderstorms. However, for day 4 to day 8 outlooks, something I do want to note is that these are kind of rare to really get a outlook for issued by the SPC. You kind of have to have models that are really agreeing on the potential for severe thunderstorms and really honestly support the potential of severe thunderstorms fairly indicatively, and usually when you get an outlook here, it kind of indicates that you may get the potential of significant severe thunderstorms if they can be issued this far out. However, something I do want to note is that for day 4 to day 6, we currently don't have any indication of the potential of severe thunderstorms, or at least a slight risk for severe thunderstorms being issued. However, for our day 7 and day 8 outlooks, which is 7 days out and 8 days out, it does indicate predictability too low, so models may not be agreeing too well, but there still may be the potential for severe thunderstorms on our day 7 and day 8 outlooks. Something I do want to go over before we end this forecast is something that may happen next week that we are currently watching. This is the GEFS models, which is our global and ensemble forecast system, which does mean that it takes a lot of our long-range models and kind of blends them together and averages out what they are predicting to kind of give us a general idea of what the models may agree to in the near-term future and what to look for. So for next week, a lot of models have been agreeing to this very broad and powerful trough that is going to advect out of Mexico and into the Mississippi River Valley in the eastern half of the United States, mainly looking at the potential of severe thunderstorms for the southeastern United States across Tennessee, the Dixie states, and potentially back into Arkansas and Louisiana. So that is something that we are definitely watching for as time goes forward, is the potential for severe thunderstorms on the 26th to potentially the 27th. And that may be what the SPC is picking up on when it does say predictability too low for the potential of severe thunderstorms for our day 7 and day 8 outlooks, as I was mentioning previously. So this may be what the SPC is picking up on. Models are definitely going to change between now and then, so things are definitely expected to be different, and it's way too early to know any sort of specifics. However, this is what the models have been agreeing towards so far, and we are watching for the potential of severe thunderstorms and how these models may trend towards the potential of severe thunderstorms on the 26th and the 27th in some of the upcoming dates. Now that I've told you the weather, please go down to the description and check out the socials for Project Gladiator and join the Discord for any updates on Project Gladiator. If you live in any of the areas I covered for this week, please stay weather alert for the time being. If you notice anything might have been wrong in this forecast or would like to make a suggestion or ask a question, please leave a comment. 3 other channels I highly suggest you check out are One Nation Weather, Weather Watcher, and JaxonWX. JaxonWX makes storm chasing content, and Weather Watcher does make forecast videos for Europe if you are interested in those, and One Nation Weather makes amazing long-ranged forecasts for the US if you are interested in those. He also does do forecasts for I think more specific dates, but he does do them mainly for long range for a week to maybe a week and a half out. So I highly suggest checking out those 3 channels. The links to them will be in the description, and hopefully I'll be able to see you guys on Wednesday with a Wednesday update.